Hi friends, welcome back. Today we're talking about lesson 23, equivalent equations, and the additive property of equality. You may see this in geometry next year. You may see this additive property of equality, abbreviated as AOE. So you might see that. So I'll just introduce that to you now. All this says, the additive property of equality just says that if you add something to one side of an equation, you got to do it to the other. So if we do plus 3, and why am I choosing to do plus 3? Well, if I have -3 and +3, those cancel out and I get that x by itself, which is the whole point of solving equations. You want to get that variable by itself. So x equals 15. Let's go back and double check this. So if we take that and we put it into our original equation, x is 15 minus 3 equals 12. Does that work? It absolutely does. So we have done this correctly. Okay, let's take a look at this guy. X plus 1/4, sorry, I don't know why it's not focusing. X plus 1/4 equals -3/8. So we are adding 1/4 here. The opposite of adding is to subtract. So -1/4 minus 1/4. So now what I have, when I'm dealing with fractions, I like to rewrite the problem. X equals -3/8 minus 1/4. Two things here. I'm going to add the opposite. So let me put that in a different color so you can see it. Add the opposite. Ooh, that looks very Christmassy, doesn't it? And then the second part of that is that when we are adding fractions, we need to have a common denominator, and our common denominator here is 8. So let's rewrite that. X equals -3/8 plus -2/8. When we, so we have -3/8 plus -2/8, that gives us a total of -5/8. -5/8. Excellent. Let's look at one more example. Okay, so for this guy, we have k plus 2 1/3 equals 2/9. So again, we want to get that k by itself, so we're going to minus 2 1/3 from both sides. Minus 2 1/3, whoops, there we go, minus 2 1/3. So if we do this, we have k equals 2/9 minus 2 1/3. There's a couple of different ways to do this. We could, I don't know why it's not focusing, sorry about that. We could set it up and borrow, to find the common denominator and borrow. But what I'm going to do is actually just turn this into an improper fraction. So we get k equals 2/9 minus, and remember to do that, you do 3 times 2, which is 6, plus 1, which gives us 7/3. Our common denominator here is 9, so multiply by 3, multiply by 3. K equals 2/9 minus 21/9. That is going to give us k equals -19/9. Or let's do some side work here. 9 goes into 19 2 times with a remainder of 1. So it is -2 1/9. Okay, here are the practice problems. Oh, I already showed you the answers. Go ahead and pause the video, do them. You should get these answers. If you do not, come on back and let's talk about that. All right, so if you did not get those answers, let's do it together and see what we come up with. Over here, x plus 5 equals 17. We are going to subtract 5 from both sides because that will cancel it out over here. So subtract 5, we get x equals 5, 6, 7, so 2, so 12. And again, we can always check. 12 plus 5 would give us 17. Over here, we're minusing 27, and the opposite of minus is to add. So we're going to add, 27. Let's try that again. Plus 27 plus 27. Okay, so k equals, our negative team is larger by 11. Over here, we're going to add 1/2 because the opposite of subtracting is adding. So plus 1/2. So what we end up with is x equals 3/8 plus 1/2. Again, we're going to need a common denominator here, which is going to be 8. So if I multiply this by 4 and this by 4, I get x equals 3/8 plus 4/8 for a total of 7/8. All right, minus, okay, so over here, d plus 4 1/7 means we're going to minus 4 1/7 because we're going to do the opposite there. Okay, so if we do that, we get d equals, let's try this. So let's put this into improper fractions because I think it'll be the easiest. So 6 times 3 is 18 plus 1 more is 19/6 minus 29 over 7. 29 over 7. Actually, you know what? We're not going to do it that way. I think what would be better is if we do d equals 3 1/6 minus 4 1/7. Let's first get our common denominator. So multiply this by 6, this by 6, this times 7, this times 7. And so our new ones are, we now have 3 7 over 42 minus 4 6 over 42. Now, we never subtract, we add the opposite. So we're going to add the opposite. Now this is a little tricky because which team is larger? Our negative team. And by how many means we need to find the difference between these. So we know our answer is going to be a negative, okay? But we have to find the difference. So we take our larger one, which is 4 6 over 42 minus 3 7 over 42. Now, in this case, you'll see that I have to borrow. So this is going to be a 3, and I'm going to add 42 here. So now what I have is 3, 6, 7, 8. So 48 over 42 minus 3 7 over 42. Man, this was a pain. Okay, if we look at the fraction bits of this, we have 48 42s minus 7 42s. That gives us 41 42s. And we take that information back over here, but remember it is negative because it's the larger team. So negative 41 over 42 is your final answer. Hopefully you got those right. If you have any questions, leave them below. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.